Welcome to the Mistress of Change podcast for women devoted to living your highest life and purpose in the world. These conversations are about activating your personal power to ignite your unique genius, your quintessential style, and your potential for greatness, vitality, and abundance. Do stay tuned till the end to find the resources and the gifts we have for you, and make sure you take action on the world-class advice. And now, enjoy the podcast. Welcome to this very special edition of Mistress of Change, brought to you by the House of Preeminence, Preeminence Rising platform. Oh my goodness, change makers. So much is happening in this time. And one of the biggest things that is happening is a whole shift in the money paradigm. So there's part of the world that thinking that the sky is caving in and that the economy is shot and everything, and another part of the world who know that they are conscious creators, that abundance is infinite, that their beautiful vocation is a vessel to channel infinite abundance. And my guest today is going to talk us into that and up-level it for you in a most beautiful, beautiful way. She is a multiple best-selling author, TEDx presenter, and she is the founder of the Thought Leader Academy, which is dedicated to supporting impact makers, change makers, getting their big message out there through books and podcasts and their stories and the published word and speaking. She's been featured all sorts of very prestigious places. So I am absolutely delighted and honored. And I love this woman. I've only met her twice and I love her so much already. Welcome, Sara.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I'm so happy to be here. And hello, everybody, all of you change makers. What a privilege to come together and just be in the energy of change making. So thank you for having me.
So Sara, I didn't mention your surname. I was
Connell. Yes, it should be Connell. It should be Connell, but it's Connell because my husband's side is Scottish and they say Connell.
Yeah, you see, I knew there was a reason. So exactly. Sara Connell, you are really up there kind of glittering with some women doing really special things and helping our change makers and women entrepreneurs step up, particularly through the written word. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's not just you who is a best-selling author. You've helped your clients. Many of your clients go on to be best-selling authors as well. What is it that is special about publishing for you?
Well, so very personal, like many of us in this work that we're in of change making. About 18 years ago, I took a job that I knew wasn't right for me. I wanted to be a writer, and I took on all the messages of society. Writers can't make money. You can't support yourself. You're not good enough, all the stuff. And so I took a job that was in advertising. So I thought, well, it's kind of creative. And like most of us, when we get into the job or the relationship that we're not supposed to be in, it was a disaster and really a nightmare. It was in the very Me Too era. So there was a tremendous amount of sexual abuse, harassment, assault that took place there, I'm sure to many people, but it certainly was my experience. And it was, I felt like I was dying and I felt trapped because I was a young woman out of university. I didn't have any other way to support myself, I was single, and I didn't know what to do. And I was flying back, I was always on the plane, and it looks so great from the outside, right? Anyone else in those where it's like, oh, it's the, the money and the first class flights and the whatever. And it was killing me. And so I heard my flight being called. I was in the Boston airport and there was a bookstore. And of course, I wanted to be a writer. Books were my lifeline, my salvation, my escape. And I just grabbed a book randomly, because we know it's really never random. And I started reading this book on the plane, and the book told a story. It was a woman, she's not famous, a woman named Margaret Bullitt Jonas, who wrote a book called Holy Hunger. And Margaret shared her story of the trauma she hadn't dealt with as a child and a life-threatening eating disorder, which is what I had developed to deal with the trauma at this job. And she shared how she got out. And by the time the morning sun kind of, broke through. I'd stayed up all night reading this book, and I said, I'm going to change my life. And I credit that book to saving my life, not just changing it, actually saving, because the physical situation I was in with the eating disorder was going to take me out if the soul death didn't. It's like there was a neck and neck race, whichever one was going to finish me first. And I was able to get strength to leave the job. I got help for the physical condition. And I just decided I'm probably not good enough, and I probably won't be a success. That's where my mindset was. But I'm going to pursue writing because this woman saved my life. And if I ever get the chance to pay that forward, I'm going to do it. And that's put me on the path to write my own first book, which I was very blessed to get on Oprah and the New York Times and all the stuff. And I just vowed I would spend the rest of my life making sure that other women who had that calling, other leaders and change makers who knew, like, I've got that book in me, or some of my clients prefer to, speak on podcasts and stages and not write. It doesn't matter. It's your story. It's your mission and your message. And that's what I've devoted our work to. And it's just been an extraordinary journey.
I'd like to come back to that a little bit later, but first of all, I want to have a bit of a party about your latest book.
Yes.
Your latest book, because many people have heard of The Science of Getting Rich. It's a granddaddy of, yes, The Science of Getting Rich is a granddaddy of new thought,
Yes.
wealth education. It was I believe it was 1937 when that book was
he wrote it in Wallace Wattles, the author of the original Science of Getting Rich, wrote it in 1920. And the only reason I know is because I made sure it was in the public domain so I could do this homage, but also transform into something for women and something modern.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't omit the drum roll here, because it's taken now you to somebody to bring out the science of getting rich for women. And I remember when I was like, why has nobody written that before?
Yes.
Because it was waiting for you. So congratulations. Tell us about the science of getting rich for women.
Well, thank you. It's so funny, Jenny, because I practice as a thought leader coach, right? I help people write books and speaking, which of course I help them monetize that mission and create 6-7 figures and beyond with that. But I'm not a wealth coach or money coach. And so I had no intention of writing this book. Hopefully all of you listening have had these moments where, Jenny, I know you've shared, we were on a path doing my thing, and I was on a walk. And during the pandemic, and I heard the statistic that women had lost $800 billion globally in the pandemic. That's been the cost to women of furloughs, lost jobs, loss of childcare, all the things. 800 billion with a B. I thought that's got to be wrong. Must be million. Nope. Looked it up. Oxfam did the study. And I actually felt rage, which isn't normally my emotional go-to. I felt rage and sadness and all kinds of feelings like roiling. And I had just heard someone talk about the science of getting rich. All these coaches had recommended it to me. It's a wonderful book. It's fabulous. But I thought, why is this the book written by a white man in 1920s? Like the book that we're all I definitely read it, but like there's more to the story. And there's also particular challenges that women are facing, both in mindset, in confidence. The Atlantic did a phenomenal study on the confidence gap, the pay gap, and all these gaps, right? So in England, mind the gap. We're going to mind this gap and we're going to traverse it and actually use it as a setup to go to places we've never gone before in our own freedom and empowerment. And so this book just swooped in, and I thought, oh God, I don't want to do a money book. Someone else. So I assumed someone else wrote it. I did the thing. I looked at Google and I looked at Amazon. I thought, of course, someone's written this. The domain was available. No one had written the book. And I thought, this is unbelievable. Who hasn't written this book? So when that happens, I really believe personally, I know Jenny, you're like most of you watching, it's like those ideas don't just swoop in by accident. It's the big magic that Elizabeth talks about. And I felt very not unworthy, because I've worked through that piece, but like, I'm not the wealth coach. Why am I the one, right? Has anyone else felt that, where it's like, why am I the one chosen? And there's a great piece that you can, I'm sure, look up on YouTube, where it talks about all these leaders and how they were unqualified, right? We're unqualified for, I thought you pick someone who's in finance or pick someone, but I just had our first $1 million year during the pandemic. And I came from a background of extreme lack consciousness, unworthiness, women are less, all this stuff. And I thought, I want to pull out this piece of what we do in Thought Leader Academy, and I want to put it in this book and give something to the world. So I just said yes, like we do. And it flowed in. And it's not just my process and methodology. It's also 25 other self-made women millionaires who pivoted during the pandemic from all backgrounds and ethnicities and education levels, geographies. And it demonstrates over and over and over that when we avail ourselves of the universal abundance and power that we all have access to, that anything's possible. And that's what I really want to be able to empower people with the book.
We talked about that when we first met this new shift in paradigm, and I opened this conversation with that, is that let's look at this this paradigm shift. You know, you can look at it one way with the sky falling, or you can look at it the other way. So yeah, so let's just talk into this true paradigm shift that is happening, and the possibilities, because with women everywhere of every level, you know, entrepreneurs and mums as well, and creatives and innovators and nurses and everybody wanting to, being called to be part of the solution. Yes. And wanting to have access to education, ideas, guidance, support, to be able to have enough resources, not just to up-level their own lives, but to really truly make a difference. So this is what we're on the cusp of this right now. So of all of your ladies in the book, yeah, what do you think were the leading ideas? What was the kind of thing that was coming out of all of their experiences?
So I really, if I boil it down to one thing, which I love, that's why I love writing a book, actually, because I learn as I'm writing, you know, I learn, and as I explore, I go deep and I learn for myself and then share, right? That's the Shero's journey that we all get to be on all the time. And if I boil it down to one thing in some form, and women will use different words, it's really about shedding the patriarchy from our identity, decision-making. I don't mean men versus women. It's not about gender, but the patriarchy, the structure of, you know, people who have power and those that don't, and us and them. It's really duality, right? Duality in the form of patriarchy. And there is a patriarchal system that says, you know, women earn X less than men, and, you know, we're not as good and all this stuff, right? There's centuries of this ideology and mentality and this institutionalized system. So in some way, shape, or form, every woman who became a self-made millionaire, because none of us had trust funds or investors or, you know, those kind of things, every single one in some way was able to let go of those false ideas, those limiting beliefs of unworthiness, not deserving, not capable, whatever, I'm not enough, something, and just say, if I can be blunt, F it, I'm going for it anyway, like in some way, shape, or form, you know? So whether it was a teacher saying, you know, I was told I had a learning disability, my brain didn't work properly and I wouldn't be able to, you know, it's just like, yes, my brain isn't normal. Okay. Who cares? It's like, actually, that's great. I love that it's not normal. I'm thrilled at this point in my life. I think it's awesome. I'm accepting it as a gift. But at the time I thought, oh, then I'm bad at math and I'm bad at numbers, then I can't do science. And it's like not true at all. But we take these things on. So the common denominator was first an internal shift of women who said, no more. I'm not going to believe this junk anymore. I'm not going to believe it about myself. I'm going to break the cycle of patriarchy off my family and off my life. And that excites me like beyond, right? Because you talked about what's emerging is the rise of an empowered female and a financially and in all ways empowered woman. And that then empowers every one of us, all genders, however we identify, don't identify. It's like patriarchy is a system that actually disempowers everyone. So that's the first common denominator. Then people took action, right? Because we do have to kind of meet life in the middle. I don't think it's enough just to say I'm worthy and then sit around and hope, you know, money shows up. Right?
Yeah, it's a familiar conversation, all in feminine, in groups of women all over the place who are saying enough of the patriarchal structure, and we know we're bright and smart and savvy enough to know that we're not talking about men, as you said. We're talking about the old structures that have kept the feminine principles in slavery, and degradation, and it is still happening.
Yes.
For so long. So this is why your book, this conversation, what we're doing together, what we're doing in Preeminence is so timely and so needed, because women need resources to be able to do this. As you said, great ideas are great ideas, and that's fabulous, but to make change, we need resources to do that. Would you agree, Sarah?
I completely agree, because we can do all the visioning and vision boarding and meditating, but there is a power. One of my mentors talks about you need a voice and a choice, and that there is a piece of finances that doesn't have to, but it often can provide those choices, open doors. I mean, we're partnering with, we're doing this fabulous work with Books for Shelters, and, contributing to different philanthropic, organizations, and with building an arm of that in our company. I can't do that without financial resources. I don't have anything to give. So Marianne Williamson said that beautifully, like, you're being broke serves no one. We can think, oh, it's noble, I don't care about money. It's actually not of service. I can't help my sisters who are fleeing an abusive experience and in a shelter if I don't have anything to give. So it's not of service to think, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just stay here and sort of stay in my, I call it like life anorexia. That's what I developed. I really got to be very life anorexic. I'd been food anorexic, recovered from that part, and then became life anorexic, because it was like, I'll just not want anything, have anything. And I felt like that was super spiritual. And it actually, for me, wasn't.
Oh, I think that deserves a mic drop. That deserves a mic drop, because it's still a tendency with spiritual female entrepreneurs who are navigating this whole new area of, what you mean, I can have it all. I can be spiritual, I can be connected with the divine, I can do all my rituals and be a goddess, and I can be extremely prosperous and rich as well. And it's still an area it's a new area for women to navigate. And I love the word. What did you call it? Life anorexia.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. I went, oh my gosh, I now did it, around money. It was money anorexic. Yeah. Amazing. And it felt safe. Here's the deal. It feels safer, because for me, it depends how we were conditioned, but in my upbringing, it felt much safer to keep myself very contained. It was very appropriate, wasn't rocking any boats. I wasn't on anybody's radar. I wasn't being too full of myself. Or my mom had a joke, because it was a line from a film that we both watched, but she would say these delusions of grandeur. It was this line in the film. And it's like, actually, they're not delusions. And your vision, all of you watching, your vision to have your full spiritual expression and change the world and have great financial prosperity, I think is life's vision for us. It doesn't mean everyone has the same goal, right? Some people are like, I do want to live in a cabin in the woods with a 0 carbon footprint. I write about that in the book. That's beautiful. That could be rich beyond measure, as long as it's really the vision. Because mine wasn't my real vision. I just suppressed it because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to try and fail. I didn't want to experience rejection. I had all the reasons I didn't want to empower myself in this area. It wasn't because it was my true vision. It was because I was really afraid and I didn't know how.
And you were also experiencing trauma.
Massive trauma, right? And that's another thing I write about. I got asked to write a money piece years ago for another book. And I said, I'm available to write this. I'd love to share, but what I really want to presence is the effect of trauma on women or any person's ability to earn. Because at least for me, I was raped when I was 8, and other, sexual trauma and other things that happened. And I took on, that would have been bad enough, right? For all the other reasons that's hard when that happens to any of us, any violation or, trauma. But I took on this weird side belief that I was a bad person because this had happened to me and that I deserved nothing good. And it blocked me from earning. It really did. And I didn't see that connection until well into adulthood, doing deep trauma work. And I looked at the correlation. I started interviewing friends and clients. And could I ask a little bit about trauma and earning? And there are huge, there's all the studies. If you have trauma, it's very likely you'll have an addiction or, whatever. There's all these studies on childhood trauma. But the earning piece has not gotten as much attention. I really wanted to presence that in this book, because if you did experience trauma in your life and you're not earning the money, there could be, you'll all know if it's true for you listening to this, there could be a connection. It was a deep connection for me. And when I healed that, lots of stuff opened up, including the money.
Yeah, I can imagine that there are a lot of women listening to this who can resonate with that. So we're going to share where to get this book at the end of it. So let's just talk about this, the entrepreneurial journey for a woman, or even the journey of increasing her her independence and her capacity to have a good income so that she can share the resources and do things in the world. There aren't any quantum leaps, are there? You don't just like go from A to Z.
I don't think we do, because of the mindset and the subconscious role that plays. I think because if we did, we'd probably sabotage it. You hear about, of course, the kind of cliched story of the lottery winner that like loses it all again. But the issue is our money is going to reflect the level of our consciousness, our abundance consciousness, I believe. So the key to me was cultivating a new abundance consciousness, and then taking actions aligned with the future I wanted, aligned with the vision I wanted. So if I just went and took a bunch of actions and made some money, I likely would have either spent it all, given it away, something, the car would break down. I've seen this happen with clients, right? So I focus so much in my work with women on the inner experience of cultivating that new vision, that new consciousness, that new mindset. If that sounds better to people, the idea is that what we believe internally is our worthiness and our ability. That's what will get reflected. That's what we'll get to hold on to. This will be sustainable. And so the exciting part is that work can happen right now. It doesn't take, it's free. I have a process in the book that works for me and our clients. You can avail yourself of infinite recordings on YouTube, the library. None of this has to even cost money to start. And so I think, it's not overnight, but if anyone wants to accelerate their process, because I certainly got to the point that I did, I want this to take 20 years. For me, it's about two things. One, finding 10 people who've done what you want to do. So like if that's making $1 million a year, read about 10 people who've done it. In this book, you get 26, because me plus 25, so there you could have it right there. But you can read about people all over the place. Find your favorite people, watch videos of them, again, listen to podcasts. You can get all of that for free. And then just find the common denominators. What did they all do that you can put into your success map? That's what I call it, a success map, because it's like, I didn't want to make a lot of money being a D-bag, right? Like that was a scary thing. I met, men sometimes that were like, I make $1 million a month, but they were like horrible. And I thought, well, I don't want that. So find people with your values, your integrity, your vision, your generous heart, who are earning what you want to earn, and just see, what did they do? And if they all got a mentor, you get to get a mentor. If they all read a certain book and applied it, you read that book and apply it. If they all started making videos online, there's the success map. And then for me, if we want to make the 10-year plan, the 1-year plan, it's getting in the room with people a few steps ahead of me. That's why I love talking to someone like you, Jenny. It's like you're thinking, in ways that I haven't learned yet, right? Because you're exploring different things than I am, and I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to be pulled forward and stretched. So getting in the room, where the virtual room, a physical room, doesn't have to be a physical room, right? Getting in some rooms with people doing what you want to do will pull you forward at a very accelerated pace.
So that's the exercise, to select about 10 people that who are at a level that you want to want to achieve, even if it's just the next level and not the ultimate.
Yep.
Find the common denominator, and it must be people with whose values that you really identify with. Find the common denominator and ask yourself how you can apply that, start applying that to your life right now.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's so fun because the roadmap is there. That idea of success leaves clues that we hear a lot about, it really does. And so there are people, absolutely. And Jenny, you've got them in the magazine. People should read issues of the magazine. They're there. The women that probably all of us watching are going to learn from and admire and get ideas from are there in the magazine. Read those features and say, oh, what did Kendall do? What did Chris Williams do? What did these, just from people that I know and issues that I've read, but what have they done? And then make your roadmap and just the level, whatever you can action, take that next step.
I love that as a complementarity for action, getting in the room. Absolutely, getting in the room and getting in the room with people who are going to stretch you. That's something that I notice that women are very leery of still, because so many women entrepreneurs are, and women in general are, we grew up quiet, in possibly in a corner, or probably told to sit at the table and not speak. But we find a great deal of difficulty with showing up in an environment which we consider to be, superior to our own, whereby that is the thing. This is what I always tell my clients: is that is the thing that will bring you upwards. It's not actually staying with the contemporaries and the people who will keep you where you are, or even pull you back. Would you agree?
I agree completely, because there is research that shows our life and wealth in all areas will reflect the 5 people or groups with whom we spend the most time. And when that hit me for real, I really took a look. And it wasn't that I was going to ditch my fabulous artist friends who were also struggling like I was. I mean, of course, they're still my friends. It's fabulous. But I was not around. I didn't have 5 people or groups that were where I wanted to go. And when I made that shift, that's when the acceleration began. Because at a certain point you think, wait a minute, if they're doing it, they're being brave in this way, they're taking this leap, like I can do it, right? We inspire each other. We are the rising tide that raises all the ships. And women have a particular divine feminine in all of us, women and men have the greatest ability. The feminine energy has a phenomenal ability for collaboration and for unity and for uplifting together and that sort of group energy. So it's here for us. We're wired that way.
So a second exercise there is to go and have a look at the people you most hang around with the most, and it might not be your family. It's probably in a business and self-growth context. Yes. But start to put yourself out there so you can enter circles which are going to make you grow.
Yes.
And I have to say that is that's exactly how I positioned the House of Preeminence as it is, because in the beginning, and I'm sure many of your listeners and my listeners will relate to this, I put everybody on a pedestal. Everybody was on a pedestal. And I was like, oh, they're all so awesome.
Yeah.
They're just amazing. They're earning all that money and they're so famous and they're so good. And how on earth am I ever going to get there? Whereas when you just start embodying the energies and the habits and the image and the habits of the rituals of everything, and you actually take them off a pedestal, because they are no different. They've simply got further along the path on the banking stuff.
Yes. And I think that's such a crucial point, Jenny. Thank you for naming it, because it's not about getting with people better. No one's better in my world. There's no one better than anyone. I mean, I don't believe in that paradigm. Again, that's a patriarchal idea in my mind. So it's just who's done further steps than we have where we want to go. I do it all. Every time I have a next goal, I make a success map. I say, who are 10 people that have done this? I'm doing it around something new in the business, a cool, inspiration that we have to develop something. And so I'm doing the 10 calls this week. I'm doing 10 calls or watching interviews, and I'm just going to make my common denominators list. That'll be my map. it's really right there for us all the time, like hiding in plain sight, right? It's like, how generous is the universe? And we have a saying in Thought Leader Academy that is, the answer is in the room. And that's your, wherever room you're in, your own room, your car, whatever the room is that you're in, the answer you seek is there. And so it's really opening to it. And ever since I've practiced that, it just over and over. And my clients will laugh now because they'll think, oh my gosh, it is in the room. At first we're like, no, it's not, but it is. It's in the room.
I love that. The answer's in the room. So let's circle back to the beginning of the conversation where we talked about the women that you're active with at the moment, with women wanting to get published, to speak. For anyone who really dreams of getting out and sharing their message in a big way, would you share something about, because I know loads who want to be on stage. They know that they can make a difference. They want to be published.
Yes.
I know there are slightly two different domains, but nevertheless, what would you share with us, Sarah?
Well, the first step is exactly the same, whether it's to be on stages, on podcasts, on TEDx, you have a best-selling book. We've developed, I made a commitment. I said, I absolutely am committed to cracking the code so that my clients come in and they've mostly never written before. They don't have an audience. They don't have all those things that we think we have to have. And right now, for the last 3 years, I'm going to knock on wood, even though we don't need to be superstitious, 100% of them not only finish the book, they become a bestseller on their launch day. And everyone who has used our TEDx process has booked TEDx. So what I want to, I'm saying this to show that it's not for a special few. It's not just if you're a celebrity. It's not just if you whatever. If you have the calling, the world is sourcing you and your book, or you on that stage. It is truly, I believe, a divine appointment. Because sometimes we need a sign. We think someone, needs to maybe give us permission, or we need a sign. I've done that so many times. Give me a sign. And I think the calling is the sign. I think the fact that if you're watching this and you have a book in you, and that you have a desire to be on stages or TEDx or whatever it is, it's because you're needed to be there. That's a divine appointment that you get to meet. And my privilege and joy is just helping people meet that as quickly as possible. So it took me 10 years and a lot more money than, people invest in working with us to get those things, put together, the best-selling book and TED and on stages, paid to speak. And, it's like, we've made that roadmap, right? Like we have that and the pieces. And so what I would say first is know that that's your destiny. If you're watching this and you've had that inkling either for a long time or new, it's because it's your destiny to be on that stage, write that book. And then the question gets to be, again, you can use the same process we just talked about, find 10 people, or certainly talk to me if you don't want to have to interview 10 people. I'm happy to help anybody, but know that it's your destiny. And I would say work with someone who has a proven system to make it happen. Because a lot of, when I did my first book, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how. I knew barely how to write it. I certainly didn't know how to build an audience, find the people I'm here to serve. I didn't know how to make it a bestseller. I didn't know how to get on stages and get paid, have it make money. So that's what, my passion is, to put all those pieces together for people. And, there are others you can find, whoever's watching, you'll find whoever your person is, or your solution, your system. But I would use someone's, because if you try this on your own, my experience for me is that I spent, a decade and a half just kind of wandering around the desert, because I tried to do it myself. And I think thought leadership and change making is a team sport. I just really think it's a team sport. So find somebody or some pathway or something to use someone's roadmap, because it's a lot. It's like a lot of reasons people give up on great books. So it gets overwhelming. Oh, is it going to be good? I'm not a professional writer, all the stuff. So I think availing yourself, for me, it was having an editor, having a coach, having a mentor who knew publishing. And that's why, I've built everything I wanted into what we do, because that's like I was like, I want the fast track to get this, because the point is saving someone's life. If we really think where we started, someone's life is on the line with all of you watching, with your book or your talk. You're not fantasizing about that for no reason. Somebody's in their therapist's office begging for help, then nothing's worked so far. It's because you're their person. So I would just urge everyone, however you want to do it, because you're not having that calling for a random reason.
Yeah, I totally agree with the divine appointment. Totally. If you've got this calling, and it's not just an idea, it's this calling to express something, then it's because somebody is requesting it.
Yes.
As you said, and the two must match, and probably not one person, probably thousands and hundreds of thousands and maybe billions even. So yeah,
that's it, Jenny. That's exactly right. Right. And so that's the exciting part, to say, oh, this is my destiny. And remember back to me feeling like, I can't write a money book. What on earth why is this coming to me? If you are afraid of public speaking, doesn't matter. If you don't have connections, doesn't matter. If you don't have an email, none of that has been an obstacle for any of our clients. We figure out a way, because it's your divine appointment. And by you meet, it will call you, your vision will call to itself. Our job. There was that beautiful quote, and you could say God, the universe, goddess, whatever we want to say, does not call the qualified, it qualifies the called. Love that so much. So I say, what am I writing a money book? Like, what am I? Well, I got the calling. I said, yes. Our only job is to stay in the yes. The only difference between Brene Brown and any of us right here is that she stayed in her yes. None of the publishers wanted her first book. She self-published and sold it out of her car. It wasn't until all the TED stuff happened, everyone's like, ooh, I want that book now, and they were like, this is stupid. We don't want a book on shame, whatever, just nonsense that, and so if you feel like there's some reason, education level, background, experience, whatever, that wouldn't let you speak on that stage, right? It's all BS. Nothing's going to stop you from that divine appointment at all.
There's going to be a lot of happy people listening to this.
I'm excited because I think some more books just got birthed. I can't wait for them to come in the world. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, this has been wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our ladies right now, Sarah?
I just claim the destiny. Our decisions determine our destiny. So I would what I love to do with myself to really walk my talk in this, and I actually like saying live the work. Walk the talk feels a little masculine energy to me. So to live the work, what I say to myself is, I know the calling is my destiny. So what am I going to decide today? So what if we all just take one decision today forward, whether it's a book, a talk, finding those 10 people that have the income level you want, whatever it is that we've discussed today, that is your destiny, it's your destiny. So let's decide and take one action.
Yeah. Absolutely fabulous. So science of getting rich for women already out there. Yes, people can get it.
Yes, when you see this interview, June 14th is our official launch date, 2022. And just know, of course, the book, you can get it whenever you're watching this. But if you do decide to join us on June 14th, all of the profits go to United Nations Women to globally uplift women around the world on that day. And you'll also get the 7 Days of Riches, which is a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't get to put in the book to support actioning the work that we're talking about here. So June 14th is that day, but obviously whenever you're watching this, we're so excited to share this message.
I'll make sure that I'll be sharing it on June the 14th as well. So
thanks, Jenny.
Okay. Thank you so much. This has just been absolutely fabulous. The topic, everything is just so harmonious with where we're going, what women need to hear right now, with stepping up the way that they're feeling, and you're just such a beautiful, shining example of that. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom and expertise and with us.
Thank you, Jenny.
And please come back again.
Always. So much love to you all.